Coach, just a couple days out from the SoCon Championship tournament in Asheville, I guess can you give us an update just on how the team looks and just how they look coming into prep for that tournament?
Yeah, our guys look fresh. We've had a great training cycle leading into the conference tournament, and I think our guys are recovered and excited to compete again. Training's been great the last couple of days. Guys look motivated and energized, and we're ready to go.
Just the approach that you take, I know last year is last year, but I know it's always the same message of just maximizing team points. And even if guys were in consolation matches, they did stuff to try to help out the team. Just what is the kind of message that you send to your guys in approaching this event?
Well, I think every year, but especially this year, like it's going to take a total team effort. I think there's a lot of parity in our conference and a lot of teams that, have a shot. So we've got to make sure we position ourselves to get the best that we can out of every guy, and that means the highest places that we can get in each of the individual weight classes. But not only that, we gotta go search for bonus points. Like every time we can get a bonus point in a match, we got to go find a way to get it. And I think ultimately last year, the bonus points coupled with how our guys fought back through consolation is what won the tournament. And I think that's going to be the recipe for trying to come out on top again this week. I mean, we've got to make sure our guys get the most out of themselves and try to maximize their point totals. And just be ready to compete. I think that's the most important thing, and that's the recipe for this weekend as well.
With 9 teams instead of 8, Bellarmine is eligible this year, and they finished pretty highly in the league and have a lot of highly seeded wrestlers. How does that kind of change the dynamic of what this event has looked like for the last couple of years?
Well, I think there's a potential for the points to be spread around a lot more instead of it maybe being spread around with a couple of teams. I think now there's 4 or 5 teams that all have really some pretty good wrestlers. So I think the points could get spread out a little bit more. And I think also it makes it more challenging. Like in a lot of the weight classes, the top 4 are going to be pretty tough. And so I think it is a little bit different dynamic, but I actually think it's a good thing. I think the more quality teams we have in our conference, hopefully we're going to start earning more bids to the national tournament. But also I kind of like the idea of spreading out the points a little bit. And so the quality wrestlers are the ones that kind of rise to the top. And, so, I mean, they've got some good wrestlers, and I think they've probably got a couple number 1 seeds as well. So, I think it's going to add a different dynamic for sure.
With the seeds being released, I know you had 2 number 1s, several number 2s. I think everybody was in the top 5. Just your initial reaction of looking at how that played out.
I mean, it doesn't really change anything for us. I think my message to our guys has been, it doesn't matter what we're seeded. It doesn't matter who we face. We've just got to take it one match at a time and not look too far ahead on the bracket or look too far ahead in any of the weight classes. Because if you're not ready to wrestle your first match, no matter who it's against or what the result was the last time that you faced that opponent, anything can happen when it comes tournament time. And I think our guys' job is to make sure that we're the most prepared we've been, not look too far ahead, and treat every match the same. And I think if we can do that and compete our best and compete as hard as we can, we position ourselves in a really good position to have a great day on Friday, Saturday. But we can't overlook any opponents. We can't look ahead to maybe upcoming matchups, because sometimes those upcoming matchups don't even, they don't pan out. And so we've got to just take it one match at a time, not waste any energy on the seeds, not waste any energy on potential matchups in the brackets. Just do our best, prepare for our first opponent, and then once we get through that, get a cool down in, and then we'll prepare for whoever the next opponent is.
The 2 guys that went 8-0 in SoCon duels and earned number 1 seeds, I guess we'll start with Will Miller. Just for him to get to this point in his career, just what can you say about his growth, whether it's even this year or just even beyond that he's had during his time in Boone?
Yeah, I mean, Will's remarkable story. I mean, just looking at where he's came from as a freshman to now, he's grown tremendously, matured a lot. This year has been a phenomenal year for him, and he's had a lot of nationally ranked wins, and like you mentioned, he ran the table in the conference and went undefeated. And he went through a little dip of maybe a little slump there in the middle of the year after an injury in December, but he's really coming back into form now, and he's in great shape. His body's recovered and feeling good, and so I'm excited to kind of see him compete over this next month.
And Luke, for the year he's had to go, he might, I think Will's the only maybe top 20, top 10 wrestler in the conference, but Luke's been as dominant as anybody in the league. What stood out for him to be able to have so many, whether it's tech falls or pins, and be such a force on the mat this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think Luke might be one of the hottest wrestlers in the country right now. I mean, if you look at his results over the last month, I mean, he's beaten he's beaten the returning All-American, nationally ranked guys, and he's been dominant in doing it. I still think he's getting disrespected quite a bit in the national rankings and stuff like that, but that might be a good thing. That might play into our advantage. We get to the national tournament. If a lot of people are overlooking him, that might actually bode well for him, and I think he's capable of beating anybody in the country, and we got to make it through this next weekend, and he's got to perform well at the conference tournament. But I definitely think if he can get his spot out there in Philly, I think he can make some noise for sure.
I think the last time we talked, the NCAA allegations were not out yet, and the SoCon gets multiples at, I believe, maybe 3 different weights. Just your breakdown, I know that's something you take it into account when you schedule and just how you approach it with your team. Just your thoughts on how the SoCon was represented there.
I mean, I felt we could potentially qualify a few more weight classes. Like I thought at 97, we probably should have got 3 bids. 74, we should have got 2, no doubt. So that was a little disappointing that we didn't qualify more bids, but we just got to do a better job as a conference, putting our guys. I mean, you put your guys in a situation where they can see the top guys in the country, but they also got to get the job done. And when they get those opportunities, they got to take advantage of them. And I know this year for us was a much different year. We had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of young guys. So we hope to qualify more bids in the upcoming years, and I think we got a lot of other teams that are poised to do the same. So a little disappointed with just only having 13 automatic qualifiers, but I think we could get a few more at-larges. So I think when it's all said and done, we should qualify between 15 and 17 bids as a conference would be my guess.
Any other messages either for your team or for fans out there following heading into this weekend?
Well, it's going to be an exciting team race in Asheville, and I think every bit of fan support we can get is going to help. Our guys got to be ready to compete hard, and hopefully our fans and our alumni will rally behind us, and we can battle for another championship this weekend.